family. I've got another encounter for you I wanted to share. It comes out of Oklahoma, and this encounter happened September 15th, 2012, which would be in the fall. I want to go ahead and share this encounter with you guys. We went to LaFleur County to trail ride. During the trip there, my husband and I joked about the possibility of seeing one, a Sasquatch. I even went to Honabi, Oklahoma with my daughter to fight to the Bigfoot Festival in 2011 and learned a great deal. I also want to say that I have nothing to gain by fabricating a tall tale about Bigfoot. I have hesitated about reporting the encounter because my best friend of 40 years doesn't believe me. But I assure you, this really happened, and I am excited about the encounter that we are returning to the area with our horses in a few weeks to do some investigating of our own, and the trail ride, some more since it rained us out on the weekend that we last went. We went to the Cedar Lake, Ouachita National Forest in Oklahoma. The forest called for rain most of the weekend, but we had high hopes of doing a lot of trail riding on our horses. My parents pulled their RV and we hauled my dad's horse along with ours and in a stock trailer. Our campsites were on the edge of the campgrounds right next to the forest. Saturday morning we went on a trail riding and kept noticing a strange smell. No one else from the camp was riding at the time. The three of us were alone in the woods. It smelled like musky skunk, and a few times our horses refused to travel up certain trails. After some encouragement, they finally went on. Later that evening, at about 7 o'clock p.m., my husband and I went to feed the horses at the campsite, where our trailer was parked, and I saw a herd of deer passing through our campsite. They stopped just inside the tree line. We watched them for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then they ran off. I took some hay down to the woods and put it on the trail, hoping they would come back. That's when I noticed the skeletal remains of what I thought may have been a deer. After that, my husband and I went for a walk in the woods to gather firewood before it got too dark. We didn't get very far when my husband asked me if I had seen that. I said, "See what?" He said, "That. He saw something big and black dart across and down the hill." I told him I didn't see anything because I was looking at the ground for firewood. He was feeling very uneasy and was ready to get out of the woods, so we went back to the camp with a few sticks of firewood. When we returned to the camp, I was feeling kind of ornery and decided to play upon my husband's uneasiness. So I took a branch and went inside the tree line and made some wood knocks. It was getting dark, so we got a small fire going in the fire pit. And we're all sitting in the front of the RV talking when we started hearing coon dogs baying as if though they had treed a coon. Could have been coyotes. I have never heard coyotes sound quite like this, though. So I'm thinking, great. We have to listen to the coon hunters all night. My mama said that she heard a faint blood-curdling scream moan while those dogs were howling. So we made a few more wood knocks, and the dog howling stopped, and we never heard it again. Then shortly after that, we heard something walking in the woods, twigs breaking and leaves rustling. We thought it was deer, so we went on about our business, telling ghost stories and Bigfoot stories, when all of a sudden the trees in front of us started shaking violently. It sounded like something very big was coming through the forest toward us, like a dinosaur, where you see the forest moving and you hear breaking of branches long before the dinosaur jumps out. It was like that, only we were not at the movies. This was real. We were all frozen in our lawn chairs. No one could even move. We kept waiting for whatever it was to jump out at us. We could hear the branches cracking, crunching, and rattling, and I saw the tops of the trees shaking in a circular motion. Then it stopped, and the forest was silent. We had a spotlight, and we thought about shining it in the trees, but we were all too frightened. My husband doused the fire, and we all went inside the RV shortly after that. The next morning, we walked down the trees that were shaking and looked for footprints, about 20 to 30 foot downhill. We didn't see anything on the ground. There was clutter, leaves and pine cones, twigs and pine cone needles. I looked, the two trees that were shaking, and they were fairly close together. I'd say about 10 to 12 feet apart at the base. They were 30 to 40 foot tall and about 12 to 18 inches in diameter. We also looked for fallen limbs and branches, and there was nothing on the ground. that wasn't already there. You know, guys, what happened to him, I believe, may not have been a Bigfoot. They were thinking that this was a Bigfoot, but I don't believe it was a Bigfoot. I believe this may have possibly have been a dog man because of the howling and the barking and stuff like that that they heard. Um, you know, it could be a Bigfoot. I'm not going to say that it was not a Bigfoot, but I would say whatever it was definitely trying to scare them. And hearing a bunch of them and that blood curdling, that yell. I don't know. It kind of makes me. I kind of got the feeling whenever I was talking about this that it was more than a Bigfoot. One of the mistakes that I think that she made is, whenever she was playing with her husband and trying to scare her husband and fooling around, when she went out and done those wood knocks, I think those wood knocks may have triggered something. She may not have meant to do it, and it might have been by accident, but I believe her going out and doing these wood knocks, it caused whatever was in the area to, give its attention to them. You know, Another thing also I noticed that they done that I don't think that I probably would have done is she said he doused the fire. I believe the fire keeps them away from you. The old timers that I've talked to in the town and the elders, they've all told me, as long as you have a fire, you're safe. And these people, they had lanterns when they worked nights and when they used to coon hunt, and their lights weren't near as good as what we have. So they would know. And they always said whenever they were followed by something or they were tracked by something or, these things would start messing with them, what they would do is they would all stop and they would build a fire, build a campfire. And he said, as long as you had that fire, they wouldn't bother you. Now, they may stay on the outsides of the fire and they may make noises at you and calls and, stuff like that, throw little sticks and twigs and rocks at you. But he said they won't come into that light, which goes back to even, to present day right now that people even say, they do not like the light. Light runs them off. They don't like the light. So to me, I feel like you leave the fire going, you go inside the RV, and then you watch from the window or whatever. But I don't think I would have doused the fire. Um, when I go out and we're going to fish all night, I always make sure that we have a fire. Right, an hour before dark. That way you have your coals built up and everything. You've got your firewood cut. And you're prepared for the night because you sure don't want to be out there and your fire die down and you're not able to see. That fire can be very, very helpful and beneficial in so many ways, cooking and seeing and as a deterrent to even critters and snakes. So I think that you would want to keep your fire. But I'm not so sure it was a Bigfoot encounter. I think it could have possibly been a werewolf. Dogman, what do you all think? I look forward to seeing in the comments what you think that they actually seen. But I think it might have been maybe a little more than just a Bigfoot. And I wish I knew what they had seen, as they had went back, if they, seen any more. But the horses not wanting to go down the trails and things like that, that kind of reminded me of the dogs that don't like to track that scent. The animals don't like it. And I think they were probably in the middle of something that they're probably lucky they got out of. And I mean, there's even the possibility that these things could be attracted to the horses. I don't know, what kind of attraction it could be, if it could be a food attraction or, something else. But it just seems there was a lot of odd things going on, and I wish we had more information on it. But it's just another one I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, guys, keep your head on a swivel and don't be something's dinner. Thanks for watching, guys.